It's not a time of science. It's a time of. It is an age of science, technology, and it is also said that it is a time of social media. Okay, you are linked with so many persons in your own way. Okay, and we have so many channels of communications. In every channel, we see some person will be sending some messages, another person will be getting that message. And if that message is perceived, if that message functions properly, then that would be the effective communication. If we go from the clockwise way, that how many portions over there, that is media, social media, message, that means short message you are providing to someone else, it also carries significance. Okay, so how you will be messaging someone else? Okay, what are the things you are supposed to write? Okay, that depends. You will say you have to choose the words you are putting in the message. And also the television is also a way of communications. You are watching television, you are getting so many information all over the world. So television, through the television, we can't have the entrance to the international community and the international news as well. And also the reading. Reading is also a communication. In which way? Every text is written by a writer, isn't it? So the reading, you are reading a book. That book is written by Richards and Rogers. Okay. So this is the sender of these books are Richard and Rogers. So whenever you are reading a text, that is making a communication between the writer, that means the Richard and Rogers, and the reader, you. Okay. So reading is also a way of communication. Again, in case of reading so many things, we may know many things. So reading is also a channel of communication as well. And also website, it needs no telling. That website, through the website, nowadays we have forgotten to purchase books. Okay, through the website we can learn so many things, and so many things, from cooking to aeronautics engineering. Everything you can get from your website. Okay, and it has become a storehouse of knowledges of all sources. So the website is also a channel through which we can make communication. In which way? That means, again, just like the book, in the website data, that data is written by someone else. And whenever you will be starting the website, you are getting the communication between the writer and the reader, you yourself. Okay. And the discussion. Discussion is also a way of communication, as we have seen in the videos. That is, they are making the plan for the tours, okay, or the vacations. And also listening, conversation, announcement, yeah, it's also a communication. Okay, at the time of you have traveled the metro rail of Bangladesh, yeah, is it? How many drivers are there? How many supervisors are there? Yeah. Only one or two drivers and no supervisors, all compartment. And there will be an announcement. Okay, the next stoppage will be Mirpur 12. Okay, so that would be a communication, and same thing will be happening in aeroplane. Okay, the pilot will be delivering all message and information to you through the speakers. Okay, so that announcement is also a source of communications. And also the chat, yeah, chat box, yeah, live video chat or audio chat, whatever may be the chat, either it may be video chat, either it may be audio chat, but that would make a sort of communication. Okay, for the video communication you will have the visual contact, but in case of audio communication you will involve in your listening, and you will have the communication with the person you are chatting on. Okay, an email, an important way of making communications, especially in many places. The important and the busy person, they do not talk to you with the mobile phone, because talking 7 minutes in the mobile phone, you can't miss some data. But if you email what you are supposed to do within a short time, the sender or the receiver can read your email, and if you email someone, especially a busy person, a professor or someone else or a scientist, then you can put some question. Question number 1, so how can I get to that point? Number 2, what is the problem I might face? Number 3, what the situation I will get in that position. So you have put 3 questions. The sender or the receiver will be answering to your email exactly the way you have put for your first question, for your second question, for your third question. So it is which one is the best way of communication. If we compare with other communication channel, email is the effective way of communication because it will get less time and it will help you getting the necessary information. Okay, so email, writing, news, phone, it needs no telling, phone, internet. So these are the communication channels through which we can make communications. And for this reason, I have said that audiolingualism developed in USA. And in 1960 decades, actually, the British linguists, they are not happy with audiolingualism. They developed a different channel or method or approach of second language teaching and learning. And they say that by the end of the 60s, it was clear that the situational approach, that means in case of British language teaching and learning system, they had been applying that approach, that is situational approach, but they are not happy with that and run its course, and there is no future of continuing to pursue the chimera, the pronunciation is chimera, of predicting language on the basis of situational events. And what was required was the closer study of language itself and a return of the traditional concept that utterance carried meaning. So British linguists, they thought that, yeah, I am making communication, okay, audiolingualism teaches us to have drills to be effective, to be an effective language user. But in case of audiolingualism, some few things are drilled, and for this reason, the language learners, they will be efficient not in all perspectives, not in all contexts. And the British linguists thought something more in language teaching and learning, and they thought that actually communication should be effective if it would carry meaning. Okay. And they came up with their idea about communication, communicative language teaching. And it can also be called that communicative competence. So if we know the context, if we know the situation, if you know how to talk with someone else, then you can get the competence that this is the way of making communications. And especially that idea was explained or got importance by this book, that the syntactic structures, that is written by Noam Chomsky. Okay, he wrote this book, and after that, some other linguist came with their idea, that is John Firth, F-I-R-T-H, M.K. Halliday, okay, and with that, there, John Firth and M.K. Halliday, they are the British linguists. With them, there were some other American linguists and sociolinguists. They are Dale Hymes, John Gimperch, and William Labo. Okay. Actually, if we want to make meaning in my words, then we have to know the sociology, we have to know the context in which way we are supposed to communicate with someone else. Okay. And for this reason, these situations are very, very important in case of communicative language teaching. Notions, functions, meaning and context. So you are telling so many things, but the listeners say that, oh, I can understand, would you please repeat? That means you are telling so many things, but you are not able to make your meaning clear to the listener. Okay. So meaning and functions, notions and context, in which context you are talking. So CLT started with these 4 key points, that is, you have to know the context, you have to know the meaning, what you are talking to someone else. Okay. And in such a way, CLT moves forward, and they came up with so many ideas about CLT. And they said that in case of audiolingualism, we see some structure. In case of CLT, we see a different structure, because we have to have that 4 components: notions, function, meanings and context. Keeping this, actually audiolingualism focuses on speaking and listening. CLT also focuses on speaking and listening. What's the difference? Giving away, discarding the importance of GTM, we have come direct method, we have come audiolingualism method, and also the CLT. So what are the difference, and what are the actual functions of this all kinds of method? Because direct method will also be talking about speaking and listening, audiolingualism will also be speaking and listening, and CLT will also be speaking and listening. But CLT is different with that perspectives, with the key point, that is competence, communicative language teaching. So communication is important between all these approaches. In direct method, okay, they will be learning speaking and listening. In audiolingualism, they will be speaking and listening. But CLT, one thing is important, that is, you have to make effective and meaningful communications. Okay, both and all, CLT, audiolingualism and direct method will be teaching you speaking and listening. Will be making you perfect with these 2 language skills, that is speaking and listening. But what are the difference? Meaning is paramount. Attempt to structure and forms of the meaning, here audiolingualism, but in case of CLT, you have to make your communication meaningful. Meaningful is important. Demands memorizing of structure-based dialogues. Okay, we have seen in case of the second World War, audiolingualism started. So with a short time, they were drilling with some certain structure. But CLT dialogues, if used, center around communicative functions and are not normally memorized. Okay, so in communication, actually students are not ready to memorize a thing. Okay, and language items are not necessarily contextualized. Okay, language items are not ready to contextualize, but in CLT, contextualization is the basic premise. Okay, context, you have to know the context. If you don't know the context, you can make your sentence meaningful on someone else, and you have to know this. And mastery or overlearning is short in case of audiolingualism, but in CLT, effective communication, whatever may be the situation, you have to make your communication effective. Grammatical explanation is avoided, and any device that helps the learners is accepted, varying according to their age and interest. So here plenty of sources they can use in case of CLT just to make the communication effective. Okay, so these are the differences between. Number 19, accuracy in terms of formal correctness is a primary goal. Fluency and acceptable language is the primary goal. Okay. Direct method and audiolingualism, they want only fluency and correctness a little bit. But here, fluency is also acceptable, and acceptable language. Okay, you are fluent, but what you are talking, that is important in case of CLT. Instruction motivation, intrinsic motivation will spring from an interest in the structure of the language, and intrinsic motivation will spring from an interest in what is being communicated by the language. Okay, motivation will be there in case of audiolingualism and in case of CLT, but in CLT, motivation will be working in a different way. Motivation will be that in case of audiolingualism, you are motivated that I have to learn all these within 1 week. That is the motivation in case of audiolingualism. But in case of CLT, motivation comes in this way, that yes, I have to know the social context. I have to know the meaning what I am talking to someone else. Okay. So brevity is the soul of wit. So if it is so, in case of CLT, you have to tell that would be meaningful in communicative language teaching. Okay. So if we will go the other perspectives of CLT, just we see some other things over there. That is, the origin of communicative language teaching are to be found in the changes in the British language teaching. As I have said, that is, they were not happy with audiolingualism, British linguists, and so they wanted to change the language teaching and learning phenomena. So the origin of CLT, it is derived from the British language teaching tradition. And after that, CLT provides opportunities for learners to experiment and try out what they know. Provide opportunities for learners to develop both accuracy and fluency. Link the different skills such as speaking, reading, listening together, since they usually occur so in the real world. Okay, so real world communication is necessary in CLT. And to prepare students to be confident communicators. Okay, when you are confident that yes, I know the social context, I know in which situation, in which perspectives I will make the communication, with whom, what I will be calling. I will be calling sir, or I will be calling the first name, or I will be calling the last name. If you know the everything, then you will be and even if you know the factors, then you can call your teacher by the first name. আপনি যদি জানেন যে এই ইউরোপিয়ান কান্ট্রির কনটেক্সটাই হলো টিচারদের নাম ধরে রাখা, এটা যখন আপনি জানবেন সোশ্যাল কনটেক্সটটা, then you can put it with the confident way. So understanding the social perspectives, understanding the cultural perspectives, you can be a confident language user, or you will be a confident communicators. And one of the motives of CLT to make you a confident communicators for different real life context. Confident communicators in which situation? Not in the situation that just you will be making two groups and you will be talking among yourself. Not like that. In CLT, that CLT will make you ready to make effective communicator in real life situation, not in classroom discussion and others. Okay. So through repetitive oral practices and student cooperation. And in CLT, communication is the end and the means of teaching method. So here in CLT, we see that all components are basically derived to enlarge the learners to be effective communicators. Okay, and like some other theories, there are some theories in CLT. That is, what is the theory of language? In CLT, linguistics theory is concerned primarily with an ideal speaker-listener in a completely homogeneous speech community, and who knows its language perfectly and is unaffected by such grammatical irrelevant conditions or memory limitations, distraction, shift of attention and interest. Okay, so the speaker's listener communication is the real life communications. So in CLT, if we can show the learners the real life situation, they can make their communication easier. Not, some learners may think that, oh, I can't memorize so many things. I have a short memory, I can remember so many things, I can memorize so many things. CLT is for them. CLT just, it is not necessary to memorize so many things, just you will listen and speak. Listen and speak. How it will be done? If in a class or if anywhere else, if we listen so many things, you will be a speaker. A speaker of which situation? A speaker of real life situation. And then your communication will be meaningful, and that is the goal of CLT. Okay, some other goals are there. Okay, whether something is formally possible, whether or not, or to degree something is feasible in virtue of the means of implementation available. So some other theories are there. And apart from the theory of language, we see some other aspects about CLT. That is, in contrast to the amount of that has been written in communicative language teaching literature about communicative dimensions of language, little has been written about the learning theory. Neither Bramfit, Johnson, nor Nettlewood, for example, offers any discussion of learning theory. Elements of underlying learning theory can be discerned of some CLT practices. So, theory of language, actually every language learning approach and theory with some shortcomings. Okay, so here in CLT they didn't show the exact way how to be dealing with. Littlewood, M.K. Halliday, they are the components, they are the main person of CLT, but they didn't directly prescribe any method. So what is their prescription? That you have to create the real life situation, and you have to apply it. And if you apply it in the classroom, you will learn the real life communications. That is their suggestions. Okay, so there are some design like all other methods. CLT, there we have design an integrate and content level language as a means of expression, a linguistics and instrumental level language as a semiotic system, an object of language, an effective level of interpersonal relationship, contact, and language as a means of expressing values and judgment about oneself and others. So the social factors, so other factors, linguistic expression, contextual expression, and the personal relationship, that will make your communication effective. So if you know all these things, your language learning and teaching design will be effective in CLT. So you have to know so many things. And syllabus, what would be the syllabus of CLT? Okay, so there are some other syllabus, structures and functions, functional spiral around a structural core, structural, functional, instrumental, functional, notional, interactional, task-based, and learner-generated. So what would be the syllabus of CLT? You can took any of them. You have to keep this meaning: interactional syllabus, or also task-based syllabus, or learner-generated syllabus, functional and notional syllabus. You can pick one of them and you can follow it in language teaching if you are to follow CLT in language teaching. Okay. So what is your target? If you want to teach interactional level to the learners, then you can pick the interactional syllabus and you will apply it in the classroom. So syllabus will also be there, and just like the others method, there will have some learners role in CLT. Learners will be the main negotiator. Actually, there is a term. The role of the learner is the negotiator in CLT. So teacher, in case of GTM, teacher will be the prime person. Okay, and in CLT, as we have said that in the video, teacher talks less, and teacher encourages the student to ask questions, and the learner what will do, they will negotiate, they will be negotiating the conversation. So just like direct method, just like audiolingual method is a drill. Opposite to GTM, CLT is there that learner will be the negotiator of speech. Everything that would be applied in classroom. And between the self and also the learning process and the object of learning and the emergence from the interact with the role of joint negotiators within the group, within the classroom procedures and the activities which the group undertakes. So a student will be the negotiator in which perspectives, not in dialogues. So if it in dialogue, so two person will be speaking one will be the negotiator, other will be. But in case of all activities that would be applied in the classroom, the student will be a glue. That means a student play the vital role for making communication. What we see in case of group discussion, we see some persons dominate. কেউ বেশি কথা বলছে আর কেউ চুপ করে বসে থাকতেছে. But in case of CLT, learner should play the role, active role to play his or her role. In case of discussion, in case of planning, in case of others materials, in case of processor, everything learner will be involved. And for this reason, in CLT, it is said that learner will be the negotiator. And the teacher's role, teachers has two main roles in CLT. That is, the first role is to facilitate the communication process between all participants in the classroom. Teacher will not be delivering all lectures in the classroom. They will be facilitated. Suppose they will start the brainstorming of the students. As we have seen the video, that is, actually you are making plan of your holidays. So have you seen that we have seen a video clip? That means there two persons, they lost their baggage within their vacation. Okay, so within that information, the teacher will be providing the way that if you take these things, if you take so many things in your vacation, such kind of problem will create in your holidays. So this means that teacher will give you the clue, the facilitator. So okay, so you are going Nepal. Oh, there might have a problem of plane crash, yeah? So many planes. So naturally, teacher will give you the clue so that you are involved in communication and you can involve in real communication. So teacher will be the facilitator, learner will be the negotiator, and teacher will be the facilitator. So giving some one or two clue about about the thing you are planning. And the second role is to act as an independent participant within the learning teaching group. Okay, what we do? Actually, we see that yes, make group, 1 group, 2 group, 3 groups. Okay, so you make discussion and you will be there. In case of CLT, no. Teacher will also be a part of this group. Okay, if there are 14 groups, in 1 group, teacher will be involving with them, so that the other learners will be talking to the teachers in the same way they will be talking to their group mates. Okay, so the learner, the teacher will act as an independent group member. Okay, and will be involved in the. And the third role for the teachers is that of researcher and learner, with much to contribute in terms of appropriate knowledge and abilities, actual and observed experience of the nature of learning and organizational capacities. And other roles assumed for the teachers are needs analysis. Okay, counselors and the group process managers. Okay, what is necessary? Okay, in case of why we prepare our syllabus, why we prepare the learning instrument, we think that if we teach actually in master's level, if we teach this way, if we show this way the teaching methods, you are accustomed to learn about the teaching method and you can apply it in your career if you become a teacher. Okay, not only the teacher, in others perspectives, we follow that you will be a researcher. You might work on in a multinational company. There you can research for so many periods. And for this reason, in CLT, one of the important role of the teacher that they will analyze the needs of the learners. Observing the needs of the learners, the teacher will apply their method. Okay, suppose if you are the engineer, all are the engineers, I have to teach that topic that would be helpful for you. If you are all the doctors, in CLT, we have to teach, the teachers have to teach the vocabularies that are related to the real life situation. What the doctor will do is speaking just like the passengers and the customers. No, doctors will be teaching or dealing with the patient. So in case of CLT, teacher will be analyzing the needs of all learners. Analyzing the needs, they will prescribe that you should do this and you should do this. Suppose if you are an engineer, then if you say that yes, you are a patient and you are a doctor, communicate with that. No, not like that. So the teacher will make the situation or the group as it is necessary for the learners. Or if all are the doctors, then you can apply this, that one will be the patient and another will be the doctor. So make the conversation between doctor and patient. But if you are the engineers, then you have to talk about the designs and some other things. The main thing is that you have to contextualize the communication. Contextualize the communication. If you can contextualize the communication, that communication will be meaningful. So CLT speaks about communication that is meaningful communication, real life communication, and for this reason they follow this process. So speaking and listening, it doesn't mean communication. In order to be effective communication, that would be meaningful, that would be contextual, and that should carry meaning. That is the main things of CLT. There are some disadvantages of CLT. Let's have a look to the disadvantage of CLT. In every method, there will have some advantages and there will have some disadvantages as well. Okay, because no method will be appropriate, no method will be effective for all. There are lots of kinds of learners, so there will have some advantages. Some advantages of CLT is that enhancing students' competence in speaking English in various situations. If we apply CLT, then not only you will be efficient, excuse me, if you teach CLT in class, the learners will encourage their competence in speaking language in various situations, real life situations, encouraging students to practice their English in real communication, stimulating the students to speak communicatively. Speak communicatively, as the title of this method is CLT. Okay, so communication will be there in every sphere, in real life situation, in context, motivating students to be brave in practicing using English. So these are the advantages of CLT. There are some disadvantages as well. Okay, if the teacher understands the students, we have a good communication, but native speakers of the target language can have great difficulty understanding the students. Okay, so you are supposed to learn effective communication, but what happens to CLT? They learn English language and they can communicate among the Bangladeshi learners, but when they are supposed to communicate with the native speakers like British and American speakers, they fail. So this is one of the problem of CLT. What does it mean? It means that they have contextualized, they have learned many things, but whenever they are talking to a foreign speaker or native speaker, they fail. Why? Because grammar is not important over here, and for this reason sometimes they make mistakes in case of expressing the meaning of their sentence. So that is one of the disadvantages. Another disadvantage is the CLT approach focuses on fluency but not accuracy. So you have to be fluent, you have to be you have to use the language in real situation, but CLT doesn't speak much about accuracy, and for this reason there may have some mistakes, just like we have seen the SSC result, that many students actually in Bangladesh after 19 decades, after 1993 সাল থেকে we are following CLT, and for this reason we are getting so many confident speakers, but their speaking are not quite accurate in terms of grammar, and for this reason we face some awkward situation, and that is one of the disadvantages of CLT. They will make you effective communicator, but they will not make you accurate communicator. That is the disadvantages of CLT. Okay. So again, help them improve their fluency, pronunciation, performance when using English for communications. So these are the advantages, and some criticism about CLT, that is, it overgeneralizes valid and limited insight until they become virtually meaningless. It makes exaggerated claims for the power and novelty of its doctrines. Actually, CLT, many researchers, they claim that actually CLT has come in existence as an opposite method to GTM. GTM is grammar based, and there are so many rules and regulations we have to learn, and in CLT nothing, no grammar is necessary, no accuracy, is just talk, okay, in real life situation. But next time we see that CLT is not less problematic, rather CLT is more problematic than GTM, because in case of CLT we have to know the context, and we have to know the real life situation, and we have to know at least the grammatical rules to make our speaking meaningful. So just we can speak, but we can't speak accurate language. We can't speak the contextual usage of language, and for this reason many critics, they claim that CLT makes a learner fluent but doesn't make a learner accurate. So that is one of the criticism against CLT. So we have talked about the history of communication language teaching. Actually, communication is important in these perspectives, and CLT comes up with that principles that we have to make our communication effective, meaningful in several situations. If we can make our communication effective and meaningful, that would make the communicator or the speaker or the language learner confident. That is about CLT, but it has some criticism as well. Okay. Any questions?
So what is jargon?
Jargon means কোনো একটা জিনিস বারবার করে রিপিট করা, ডিলিং যেমন GTM এর ক্ষেত্রে গ্রামার অনেক বেশি ইউজ করা হয়, সো দ্য গ্রামাটিক্যাল জার্গন আমরা বলছি। CLT এর ক্ষেত্রে আমরা বলতে পারি যে CLTর মধ্যে কমিউনিকেশন, রিয়েল লাইফ কমিউনিকেশন, মিনিং, এটা অনেকবার বলা হচ্ছে, কিন্তু আসলে সেটা করতে গিয়ে আমরা অ্যাকুরেসির দিকে আর কোনো গুরুত্বই দিচ্ছি না। That is, any questions?